In this lecture, we will learn a technique known as analysis of variance or ANOVA that will enable us to test for the significance of the differences among more than two sample means. Using analysis of variance, we will be able to make inferences about whether our samples are drawn from populations having the same mean. Now, before we start ANOVA, we must know what is F distribution. When we want to test the equality of variances of two normal populations, we make use of F test based on F distribution. The object of F test is to test the hypothesis whether the two samples are from the same normal population with equal variance or from two normal populations with equal variances. Now, if we want to test the hypothesis of the equality of variances of two populations, we say that the null hypothesis is sigma p1 square is equal to sigma p2 square, where sigma p1 and sigma p2 are variances of two normal populations. Okay, so we will make a calculations of an test statistic F, which is given by sigma s1 square upon sigma s2 square, where sigma s1 square is what? The variance of sample from the population 1, and similarly sigma s2 square is equal to variance of sample from population 2, and these can be calculated as for sigma s1 and sigma s2. While calculating F, we always treat that sigma s1 square is more than sigma s2 square, which means that the numerator is always greater than the denominator. Again, the degree of freedom for population 1 is n1 minus 1, where n1 is the sample size for population 1, and degree of freedom for population 2 is n2 minus 2, where n2 is the number of items in sample of population 2, and we treat sigma s1 square is greater than sigma s2 square. It means the numerator is always the greater variance. So tables for F distribution have been prepared for different values of F at different levels of significance. So first of all, what we will do is see what is this F distribution. So here you can see F distribution is actually a whole family of distribution, three of which are shown in this figure. Notice that each is identified by a pair of degrees of freedom, like here 25 by 25, 5, 5 or 2, 1. So here you can see that unlike T and chi-square distributions, which have only one value for number of degrees of freedom, here are two values. So the first number is the number of degrees of freedom in the numerator of the F ratio, and the second is the degree of freedom in the denominator. So here we can see in the figure the F distribution has a single mode, and the shape of F distribution depends upon the number of degrees of freedom in both numerator as well as the denominator. So in general, F distribution is skewed to the right and tends to be more symmetrical as the numbers of degree of freedom in the numerator and the denominator increases. So these are the F tables. So here you can see in the F tables, in this direction we are given the number of degrees of freedom for the numerator, and these rows, these represent the degrees of freedom for the denominator, and for depending upon the degree of freedom of the numerator as well as the denominator, we can read the f value from this table. And the different f table exists for each level of significance. So this is for 5% level of significance, and this one is for 1% level of significance. So here from here f equal to sigma s1 square upon sigma s2 square, if we know the variances of both the population, we find the f ratio, and then we match this f ratio or compare this f ratio with the f ratio given in the table. So if the calculated f is greater than the table value of f, we regard the f ratio as significant. But on the other hand, if the calculated value of f is smaller than its table value, we conclude that f ratio is not significant. And if f ratio is considered non-significant, we accept the null hypothesis. But if f ratio is considered significant, then we reject the null hypothesis. Then we move to the next article, that is inferences about two population variances. Now we can use this F test to check whether the samples are from the same population or from two normal populations having same variance. So we will do this with an example. A prominent sociologist at a large Midwestern university believes that incomes earned by college graduates show different variability than the earnings of those who did not attend college. So for that, she took samples. First one was from 21 college graduates with standard deviation of $17,000, and second was from 25 non-graduates with S2 equal to 7,500, and she wishes to verify her theory at level of significance 0.01. So again we will find what is given. So data is given as the standard deviation of first sample is 17,000 and sample size N1 is 21. Similarly, the standard deviation of second sample is 7,500 and size of the second sample is 25. Statement of the hypothesis. We will take first of all null hypothesis, that both the variances are same. Sigma 1 square is equal to sigma 2 square. And alternative hypothesis would be that the two variances are different. Sigma 1 square is not equal to sigma 2 square. And alpha is equal to 0.01. So, first of all, we will calculate the test statistic f. So again, this f, it is equal to s1 square upon s2 square, because we are calculating the variances from the samples. So we are taking it as s1 and s2. So f comes out to be 5.14. And here first sample size is 21. So degrees of freedom is n minus 120. Similarly, for second population, sample size is 25. So the degrees of freedom is 25 minus 1, that is 24. So from the table, we will see with respect to 20 and 24, the f value comes out to be 2.74. So our value is 5.15. So if you will mark in the figure, here you get 2.74, okay, and here we will get 5.14. So 5.14 is in the rejection region. Otherwise also it is greater than 2.74. So we will reject the null hypothesis, and the sample data support her theory that the variances are different for both type of graduated students and non-graduated. Then we move to the analysis of variance, ANOVA. So the significance of the difference between the means of two samples can be judged through Z-test or the t-test. But how to find the differences among more than two sample means at the same time? So this can be done with the help of the ANOVA. So the ANOVA technique is important in the context of all those situations where we want to compare more than two populations. Basic principle of ANOVA. The basic principle of ANOVA is to test for differences among the means of the populations by examining the amount of variation within each of these samples relative to the amount of variation between the different samples. So in terms of variations within the given population, it is assumed that it is because of random effects which are unexplainable, whereas in examining differences between populations, we assume that the difference between the mean is attributable to what is called a specific factor, and we assume that all factors other than the one or more being tested are effectively controlled. So here in this case we will find out our F test statistics as estimate of population variance based on between sample variances divided by estimate of population variance based on within the sample variance. Then this F is compared with the F limit from the table, and if the worked out value of F is equal to or exceeds the F limit value from F tables, we may say that there are significant differences between the sample means. Okay, so here we say that the variance among the sample means, different samples, that should be more than the variance among the items of the same sample. So this is what we are going to calculate. So the different steps in analysis of variance are: first is we will determine one estimate of the population's variance from the variance among the sample means. Second, estimate of population variance from the variance within the samples. Third, we will calculate the F value, and if F value we work out is equal or exceeds the F limit value from tables, we may say that there are significant differences between the sample means, or if it is less, then we say that these differences are insignificant. Then we are having one-way ANOVA or two-way ANOVA. So one-way ANOVA is when we consider only one factor and then observe that the reason for said factor to be important is that several possible types of sample can occur within that factor. So we then determine if there are differences within that factor. So these are the steps for that. So first of all, we will calculate the mean of each sample. So there are certain number of items in each sample. We have taken 2 samples, 3 samples or multiple samples. Okay, if we are having k number of samples, each sample will have some number of items in that. So for those items or for those values within the sample, we will find out the mean, that is x1 bar, x2 bar, x3 bar. Second step is work out the mean of the sample means. So we have calculated the mean of all the samples. Then we will find out the grand mean, which is the mean of all these values x1 bar, x2 bar, x3 bar. So their mean is calculated and it is designated as x double bar. After that, third step is we will calculate the deviations of the sample means from the mean of the sample means and calculate the square of each deviation, which may be multiplied by the number of items in the corresponding sample, and then we take their total, and this is called sum of squares of variance between the samples, or we write it as SS between. So for the first sample, what are the deviations from the grand mean? Okay, its square multiplied by the number of items in it. Similarly for second sample and third sample, and then we take the summation of all these, that is SS between. Then we work out the mean of then we divide this SS between by the degrees of freedoms. Then it is known as mean square between samples. So for SS between, because there are SS between is between different samples. So how many samples are there? That is k. So k minus 1 will be the degree of freedom for this. So SS between divided by k minus 1 give us MS between. After that, we will calculate SS within. Now we will take the deviations of the sample means from the mean of the sample means and then calculate the square of each deviations, which may be multiplied by the number of items in that. So here what we do, we will take the values of the sample items for all the samples from corresponding means of samples, and then we will calculate the squares of such deviations, and then it is known as the sum of square of variance within samples, or SS within. So for each item in sample number 1, for example, first of all we will consider the sample number 1. For each item, what is the deviation from its mean? Its square. Okay, square of the deviation for sample number 1, for all the items of sample number 2, for all the items of sample number 3, and so on. So that is SS within, and when we will divide it with degrees of freedom, that is MS within. Okay, so this MS within can be calculated as SS within divided by degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom is total number of items in all the samples minus number of samples. So N is the total number of items in all the samples and K is the number of samples. So N minus K is degree of freedom for SS within to calculate MS within. So next step is SS for total variance. So that is taken as SS between plus SS within, and its degree of freedom would be N minus 1 is equal to K minus 1 plus N minus K, and that will come out to be N minus 1. Total number of items minus 1. And then we will calculate the F ratio, and F ratio is the MS between divided by MS within, and if the worked out value of F is less than the table value, then the difference is taken as insignificant, and the null hypothesis of no difference between sample means stands. So the higher the calculated value of F is above the table value, the more definite and sure one can be about his contributions. So in tabular form we can write the values like this. Okay, so first of all we will calculate the SS between, then degrees of freedom, then ms between. Similarly, then we will calculate ss within, then degrees of freedom, then ms within. And this is our total ss and degrees of freedom. So our f ratio is ms between divided by ms within, and we have to compare it with the table. And for the difference to be significant, this value has to be more than the table value of f. So we will do a numerical on it. A researcher prepared 3 concrete mixes with different combinations of fiber addition. He tested the samples for compressive strength. Now he wants to evaluate that the difference in compressive strength indicate the effectiveness of particular type of fiber addition in a concrete mix, or the differences are insignificant. Use the 0.05 level of significance. So here the factor is compressive strength we have checked, and the treatment is different combinations of fibers. For that he has prepared 3 mix 1, mix 2 and mix 3, and for each mix he has tested few numbers of samples. Okay, so first step is we will calculate the sample mean. So number of samples we know, we will add all the values and it comes out to be 17, and n1 is 5. So 85 divided by 5. Similarly, 105 divided by 5 is 21, and x3 bar, it comes out to be 19. So we have calculated the sample means for all the 3 mixes. Then is, what is our problem now? Problem is that we have to check the hypothesis that all the means are equal. So this is our null hypothesis, and the alternate hypothesis is that all the means are not equal. So for that we have calculated the means for each sample. Then we can calculate the grand mean for all the 3 samples. So that comes out to be 19. Then comes the SS between and SS within the samples. Now this is for the first sample. Number of items we know, samples tested are 5. Its mean is 17, and grand mean we have calculated as 19. So 5 into 17 minus 19 square. Similarly for second sample, similarly for third sample, and it comes out to be 40. So SS between is between the samples. What is the variation? So we will check the variation of the mean of the sample with the grand mean. Then comes the SS within. So in SS within, we have to take within the each sample what are the deviations. So sum of deviations within the sample. So within the sample we know the deviation is the first item minus mean square, similarly second item minus mean square, and so on. So we will calculate for the first sample, and it comes out to be sigma x minus x bar square comes out to be 70. Then for second sample, x is 22, mean is 21, 27 minus 21, all the deviations. Then we will sum all the deviations, and that comes out to be 62. And similarly for sample number 3, sum of square of deviations come out to be 60. So if we will add these 3, we will get SS within as 192. So then the SS within is 192 plus SS between 40. That comes as SS for total. So now we have calculated SS between, SS within, and SS total. Degrees of freedom between sample is total number of samples minus 1. So 3 minus 1, 2. Within the samples is total number of items in all the samples minus number of samples. So 16 minus 3. And this is total number of items in samples minus 1. So 15. So MS we can calculate SS divided by degrees of freedom for both. Then the F ratio, it is MS between divided by MS within. It comes out to be 1.354. And from the table of 5% significance level for 2 and 13 value, 2 is for numerator and 13 for denominator, you will get the value as 3.80. So we know now that from the table the value is 3.8 and our sample's value is 1.354. It means it is in the acceptance region, and we would accept the null hypothesis and conclude that according to the sample information we have, there are no significant differences in the three mixes. After that, we move to the two-way ANOVA. So, some situations demand that the experiment should be planned in such a manner so as to study the effects of two factors simultaneously. So then comes the two-way ANOVA, where we are having two factors. So here again, within each factor we can have the one set of readings, or we can have the repeated measurements, multiple set of readings. So for both we are having different procedure. So first of all, let us start with the ANOVA in context of two-way design when repeated values are not there. So it is just like the one-way ANOVA. So here the first step is again take the total of the values of the individual items in all the samples and call it T. So whatever total number of measurements or values we are having, we will add those values and we will get the value of T. And then we will find out correction factor, which is given by T square by N. So after that, we will find out the square of all the item values one by one and then take its total, which is xij square, and then we will subtract the correction factor from this total, and that would be the sum of square of deviations for total variances, or it is called as SS total. Next we will take the total of different columns and then obtain the square of each column total and divide each squared value of each column by the number of items in the concerning column and take the total of result obtained. So then we will subtract the correction factor from this total, and that would be our sum of squares of deviations for variance between columns. SS between columns. Similarly, we will do for rows. We will take the total of different rows and then obtain the square of each row total and divide each squared value of each row by the number of items in the corresponding row and take the total of the result, and it is known as squares of deviations for variance between rows if we will subtract the correction factor from it. The next step is total SS, and total SS should be SS between columns plus SS between rows. Total SS we have already calculated, so this is SS for residual or error variance. So the sixth step is we will calculate SS for residual variance, that would be difference between the total SS and addition of SS between columns and rows. So for each step we must know the degree of freedom. So degree of freedom for total variance is number of columns multiplied by number of rows minus 1. Degrees of freedom for variance between columns is number of columns minus 1. Degrees of freedom for variance between rows is number of rows minus 1. And degrees of freedom for residual variance, it is column number minus 1 multiplied by number of rows minus 1. And then we can set up a ANOVA table. So in ANOVA table, first of all, we will find out SS square for between columns, between rows, residual error and total. Then we will write down degrees of freedom for each, and MS square is SS between divided by degrees of freedom. And then we will find out the F ratio for between columns and S ratio between rows. This is for one factor and this or treatment, and this is for second treatment. Here two treatments are there, so we will find out two values of F factor, and then we will establish the interaction level. So we will do this with the help of an example. Time in hours to complete 300 km route stretch by different drivers on different routes is given below. Set up an analysis of variance table for the two-way design results. Also state whether the effect of the driver or effect of the route is significant at 5% significance level. Okay, so now each driver has driven the vehicle on different routes. Similarly, for one route, all the drivers they have driven, and the time taken by them for the journey has been noted. So we want to find out that whether the differences in the drivers that is significant, or whether the difference between the routes that is significant. So this is a two-way ANOVA as we are considering two factors. So first of all, the first step, that is we have to calculate correction factor T square upon N. And what is T? It is addition of all the values. 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 7 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 8 plus 7 plus 4. So that is T, and it is 60. And total number of items are 12. So correction factor comes out to be 300. Step 2 is total SS. In total SS, what we do, we take the square of each value and then we add it, and then we subtract the correction factor from it. So for example, the first value is 6, so we will take 36. Second is 5, we will take 25 and 25. So 36 plus 25 plus 25 plus 49 and so on. So then we will subtract the correction factor from this total, and it comes out to be 32 total SS. Then third step is SS between column treatments. So between column treatments, we have to take square of the column total divided by the number of items in a column. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 items, and first column is 24 square by 4, second is 20 square, and third is 16 square by 4 minus correction factor. So SS between column comes out to be 8. Similarly, we will take the row total and row square divided by number of items in a row 3. 16 square by 3, 16 square by 3, 9 square by 3 and 19 square by 3, and minus the correction factor. So SS between rows treatment comes out to be 18. Then step 5 is SS residual error. Residual error is total SS minus SS between columns plus rows. So we have calculated all these 3, so it comes out to be 6. We can form an ANOVA table. So between columns SS we have calculated 8. Degree of freedom is number of columns minus 1. MS is SS divided by degrees of freedom. F ratio is 4. Second is for between rows, SS is 18 and number of rows minus 1, 3. 18 by 3. SS by degrees of freedom 6, and F ratio is, we will calculate later on. Residual error. Similarly, for residual error we have calculated SS as 6, okay, and degrees of freedom as C minus 1 into R minus 1, that is also 6, and MS comes out to be SS divided by degrees of freedom. And for total, we will add these three, or we have calculated also 33. So C into R minus 1 is the degrees of freedom, 11. So here this F ratio is SS between columns minus divided by the degree divided by the MS residual. Okay, similarly here the F ratio is MS between rows divided by the MS residual error. So that is our F ratio for between columns and between rows. And from the table we have calculated the value of 5.14 for this. This is 4, this is 5.14, this is lesser. Our F ratio, that is less than the limit value. It means this difference is insignificant. So we can say that the differences concerning the different mixes are insignificant, but here this value is more F ratio but then the table value. So the differences concerning different roots are significant. Then we move to the analysis of variance two-way classification with multiple observations per cell, or with repeated measurements. So in case of two-way design with repeated measurements for all the categories, we can obtain a separate independent measure of inherent or smallest variations. So for this measure, we can calculate the sum of squares and degrees of freedom in the same way we have worked it for one-way ANOVA. So we get one more extra thing, that is interaction in case of the multiple readings. So this is a numerical for that. A researcher tested the 3 concrete mixes with different types of binder additions at 3 different curing periods. Do the different binders act differently? Are the different curing periods affecting differently? Is the interaction term significant? Answer the above questions taking a significant level of 5%. So here 2 factors are there. First is the different types of binders, and second is the different curing period. And for each set of the measurements we are having repeated tests. Means 2 samples are with binder 1 have been tested at 28 days. Generally we take 3 samples. Okay, so in this numerical we have taken 2. So for each we have repeated measurements. Then how to proceed? So in this case again, step number 1 is we will find out the correction factor. Total of all the measurements is 187 and number of total samples tested are 18. So the correction factor is 1942.72. Then comes the total SS. Total SS means square of each 14 square, 15 square, 10 square, 9 squares, like this. Sum of square of all the items minus correction factor. So that comes out to be 76.28. Third is SS between columns. Between columns, how we do that? We do the column total. So 73 square divided by number of the items. N is 6. Similarly 56 square divided by 6 and 58 square divided by 6 minus correction factor. So that comes out to be 28.77. Then is SS between rows. So this whole is considered as one row. So its total is 70 square divided by 6, 59 square divided by 6 and 58 square divided by 6 minus correction factor. That comes out to be 14.78. Then is SS within samples. So within samples means, now this is extra step that we do here, that this is for one set. Okay, this is one set, x and 28 days. So 2 measurements are there. If 3 would be there, then we will take the mean of 3. So 2 measurements are there, we will take the mean of these 2. Then we will find out the deviation of each, 14 minus 14.5 and 15 minus 14.5, and we will take the deviation square. Similarly, we will do for all the values, sum of deviation square for each one, and that comes out to be 3.50. And step number 6 is SS for interaction variation, that is total minus all the 3 column, SS between column, SS between row, and SS within samples. So total SS 76.28 minus sum of all these 3, that comes out to be 29.23. So in tabular form we will do the calculations. So here SS is 28.7, we have calculated this. Degrees of freedom, we know number of columns minus 1, number of rows minus 1. Within samples, we know total number minus multiplication of columns number and row number. So that is 9. Now for interactions, this we have calculated 29.3. And how to calculate the degrees of freedom? Degrees of freedom is total, what is the degrees of freedom for total? 17 minus degrees of freedom for columns, degrees of freedom for rows, and degrees of freedom for within samples. So that comes out to be 4. So now we know SS for every item, we know the value of degrees of freedom for everyone. Then we can calculate MS. MS is SS divided by degrees of freedom for every column. And then the next step is we have to calculate the F ratio, and F ratio for between column is MS for columns divided by SS within sample. Similarly for between rows is, it is MS between rows divided by MS for within sample error. And similarly for interaction also we have to calculate F factor, and that is also equal to the MS for the interactions divided by within samples error. So all these values we have calculated. First comes out to be 36.9 between columns, and F from table for 2 and 9. For numerator, degrees of freedom is 2, and for denominator within the samples, the degrees of freedom is 9. So for 2 and 9, F comes out to be 4.26. So this is 36.9. This is much more than 4.26. It means difference is significant. Okay. Similarly here it comes out to be 19. It is 4.26. It is more. It is also significant. Here it is 3.63, and it is also very much higher than 3.63. So it is also significant. So the above table shows that all the 3 F ratios are significant at 5% level, which means that the binder act differently, the different curing periods are affecting differently, and the interaction between them is also significant. So this is all about the analysis of variance. Thank you.